Awesome. And welcome once more to another HRAI webinar. This time it is running a more profitable residential HVAC business. And we are pleased to have back Caitlin Blundell, who is a business coach with Action Coach. You've seen her before offering some fantastic insights into building your business. And today she's joined by digital marketing guru Robert Yantalucci, president of Flower Pot Marketing, who's going to take that conversation even further. And at this point, I will ask both of them to turn on their cameras and give us a wave. There we are. Cameras and mics. We want to hear your beautiful voices. There we go. Awesome.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. So before I hand the show over to you, I just want to do my normal HRAI housekeeping. This is being recorded, this presentation, so you can find it on HRAI's YouTube page afterwards. We're also going to be taking questions if you'd like to give them to Rob and Caitlin here, and that'll be happening at the end of the webinar. You can see at the bottom of your screen, we got a chat box. You can put them in there. I'll be watching there, or the Q&A box as well, and we can get to those as much as we can within the time we have left at the end of the hour. I know we got a packed presentation, which is why I'm talking a little fast. I want to give these experts their due. But other than that, if you have an idea for a webinar and you'd like to be the person on the screen, you can reach out to us on the HRAI YouTube or HRAI's page as well, and we can get that sorted out. So that's where I'm going to go to the side, let Caitlin and Rob do their thing, and I will see you at the question period. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. I think it's my turn first on the hot seat, and I'm very happy to be here and very happy to be back. For those of you who have seen me before, I might be looking a little different today. I have unfortunately come down with something called Bell's palsy, which means my face does not move the way I want it to. I'm not making faces at you, but let's just all pretend it's not happening. So with that being said, welcome to running a more profitable residential HVAC business. I'm so pleased today that my colleague and friend Rob has joined me from Flower Pot Marketing. Rob and I have worked together with a number of businesses to kind of help them build a growth strategy for their business. And I know he's going to be a great addition to our chat here today. So I'm going to leave it to Rob to talk about the digital marketing side, about the lead generation side. And I'm going to talk about some other things that we need to keep in mind as we're building profit into our plan for the business. For those of you who haven't seen me before, let me introduce myself quickly. My name is Caitlin, and I am a certified business coach with Action Coach. I came into coaching on a fairly unconventional path. I ran a solo practice for many years as a kind of technology consultant doing spatial analysis. Essentially, I built myself a job and failed to build myself a business. And that means that the journey I was on was a real roller coaster. I got a cash flow roller coaster and a stress roller coaster. So after my two kids were born, I really went on a journey to learn more about creating a better business. Part of that journey included getting my coaching certification and joining Action Coach. It also brought me into ORAC as an associate member, and I've been working with a lot of companies in the trades. And I'm finding that there's a lot of people in the trades who are stuck on the same hamster wheel that I was, who want to find a way to make the business a little bit less dependent on them so they can one day retire, sell the business, maybe pass it down to the next generation of managers, or heck, even just enjoy it more today as they run the business. And so that's where I come in. So the profit in any business, HVAC, residential, or name it, pick your industry, wherever it is, the profit is generally in repeat business and referrals. So I want to spend a few minutes today to talk about those. We know marketing has costs. Marketing costs either time or money. So if you need to find a new customer every time you want a new transaction, you're building a really expensive business. It is going to be easier to sell something to an existing customer or a past customer than it is to acquire a new one. On average, acquisition of a new customer is at least 5 times more expensive than retaining the customers we already have. The odds of selling to a current customer are higher. The odds of selling to a new customer are lower. They don't yet know you. They don't like you. They don't necessarily trust you. So we want to focus on building customer lifetime value because I want your marketing dollars to go to good use. I don't want you to be kind of wasting money, burning marketing cash, marketing to people who are not going to buy, who don't fit your target market. So let's take a little bit of that marketing energy, marketing time, marketing budget, and put it towards the folks who already know, like, and trust you. This is what the statistics tell us, a 5% increase in retention rate, okay, and keeping those same customers around a little bit longer can lead to a rise in profit between 25 and 95% in the business. So that's pretty significant, right? Just a 5% increase in retention rate can lead to a massive jump in profit. Our old way of thinking of doing sales is as a sales funnel, right? And you might have heard this or seen this picture where you start at the top with a whole bunch of leads or prospects or inquiries, and you work them through a sales process, and some small fraction at the bottom end up closing a sale and making a transaction. And that's kind of the close of the funnel, the bottom of the funnel, the end of the process. So I want to challenge that thinking and start thinking more like a sales hourglass. Okay, that close is important, right? That getting the new customer is important, but then think about that funnel opening back up, right? As we get more referrals and more repeat business, because that is where the profit comes in. You can think about this like a ladder, right? At the bottom of the ladder, we have a suspect. Somebody is a suspect if they fit your target market. A prospect is somebody who has taken some sort of action. Maybe they have filled out a form on your website. Maybe they've called and asked about the service, right? They somehow kind of put their hand up and said, here, take my contact information and tell me a little bit more about what you do. A shopper is somebody who has bought something once, where a customer is somebody who has bought at least 2 times, okay? So the difference between a shopper and a customer is accustomed to doing business with you, right? They have some experience that has brought them back, and they want to keep coming back because they appreciated the value that they got. A member is even a step above a customer. A member could be something like they feel like they belong. Maybe they have a keychain with your logo on it, or a notebook with your logo on it, something to make them feel like, hey, this is a club of which I am a part, okay? An advocate is somebody out there who is telling others about you, and a raving fan is somebody who is doing your selling for you. There's somebody who's out there leaving great Google reviews, telling all their friends, passing your marketing materials out, and trying to generate more business for you. So when we're talking about repeat and referral business, what we're talking about is strategies to graduate people from one rung of the ladder to the next. Okay, we want to graduate our prospects to shoppers, sure, but we also want to dedicate the same energy to graduating shoppers to customers, to members, to advocates, to raving fans. So how do we do that? Well, if we want people to talk about the business, people don't talk about customers don't talk about satisfaction, okay? Customer satisfaction is great. Without customer satisfaction, of course, we're not going to get the repeat business. But to get referral business, to get people who are out there talking about you, probably there's some element of wow, some element that went above and beyond, something that surprised them that they weren't expecting, right? They got more than they expected, and they posted about it on social media. They posted about it in a Google review, or they told their friends about it. So we're looking for 2 things. We're looking for consistency in how they're treated. We're looking for an element of you being easy to buy from, easy to make a purchase from. And then we want to add onto that and give them a wow factor as well. So it's worth reflecting. If you think about your last 10 customers, were they satisfied, or did they get more than they expected? I had a great recent example of this was a friend of mine who is also, she's also a parent. She's also a mom of young kids. She's also a business owner. And guess what? She's also busy, right? She doesn't get a lot of time for herself. I promise this is a story about a friend and not like a friend. Like, this is actually somebody I know, not me. So she wanted to get a haircut. She went to try out a new salon in town. Okay, so she walked into this salon in the mid-afternoon, and the person who was going to be doing her haircut greeted her at the door, greeted her with a smile, made her feel really welcome, and even went so far as to offer her a glass of wine. And she thought, wow, that's incredible. And I think I will. I'm gonna indulge myself today. and she enjoyed a glass of wine and had a great haircut and had a good experience and left. And it really left her with that wow, that surprise, that going above and beyond, right? And so then it came around that it was her birthday. And her husband said, well, what do you want to do? What can we do for you? And she said, you know what? I really want to just kind of have that experience again. I want to have a little time for myself. And I want to go back and I'm going to get the glass of wine. I'm going to get the nice haircut and I'm going to do it on my birthday. It's going to be great. So she makes the appointment. She books a babysitter. Off she goes. She walks into the salon and they greet her warmly with a smile. No glass of wine, right? It's just a different service provider. The person she saw previously wasn't there that day. So the experience was not consistent. And she felt let down. It was an expectation they set up here and then failed to reach, right? She got a great haircut. She had a nice experience, but it failed to meet the expectation that that company had set by having that high wow factor in the beginning. And it's not like it's like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. She can't ask them for a glass of wine, right? She's not going to ask them. But she was left kind of feeling disappointed. So this is the importance of consistency. When we're talking about getting repeat and referral business, what we want to do is we want to set a standard, create a program, create training, create documentation, create materials around the standard so that we can apply it consistently to each and every person we do business with. And with that consistency, there comes repeat business and there comes referrals because people know exactly what they're going to get. And they know they're going to have a great experience and that something is going to wow them every single time. Okay? It's not good enough to wow one person once. We need that level of consistency and systemization. All right. We want people to come back because they see value in doing business with you. They see something that you do that nobody else can do as well as you can. That's why my definition of selling to a niche is that there's no price competition. We're not having people who continue to come back because we offer the steepest discounts or the lowest price, right? There's no profit in that business. There's no profit in the race to the bottom, in the discounts, and in the competing on price. So I want to help you come up with some ideas of a business that can successfully kind of offer a value to your residential customers without necessarily offering the lowest price. Not to say that people don't have a budget or that they don't care about price. Of course they do. If all else is equal, of course they're going to go with who's cheapest. Okay, but that's the trick. We don't want all else to be equal. We want to tip the scales and give them another reason to want to work with you because nobody else can do it as well. You have some differentiating factor, okay? It works like this. This great story about this might be a bike shop, okay? There was a bike store that was working with an action coach, and this is in a kind of mid-sized town. So they were not the only bike store in town. Okay, there were others who offered very, very similar products and services to what our store did. And so they found themselves competing on price, right? Seasonal sales, end of season sales, this sale, that sale, anniversary sale, whatever. They're sending out flyers, sending out marketing materials. Come buy from us. We're the cheapest. We're going to give you 20% off, 25% off. So they decided to do this differently. They decided to look for that differentiating factor. And for them, they looked at, who is their target market? Who do they want? Who's their ideal best fit customer? And what do they care about the most, right? What can we offer them that maybe makes us stand out from these other stores in town? And what they landed on was something to do with getting kids onto the right bikes. So we have a 10-step process to make sure that your kids get on the bike that's the right size, it's going to be safe. Hey, they can pick up some riding tips in store from our kid-friendly experts, and we'll make sure they've got all the safety gear that they need so that they can learn to ride in style and be safe, right? Now, this is not significantly different than what the other stores in town were doing. Any of them could have done the same thing, but what they did is they chose to call attention to it, to take that highlighter to it and make it a thing, okay? It gave them an angle, kind of cornered that market because nobody else was really talking about it, although you're probably doing it just the same way. So now with that differentiating position, they were able to start controlling their pricing. Less sales, less flyers, fewer discounts. They kept higher margins, which gave them more money for marketing to allow them to continue to spread their message and kind of really dig into that position. Okay, it gave them what Warren Buffett has called a competitive moat, right? Some sort of barrier that makes it harder to compete with you. Okay, so before you go to somebody like Rob, who can help you generate a bunch of leads, what we've got to do is we've got to work to really define who that best fit customer is, what's on their mind, what are their fears, their concerns, or their frustrations, especially when it comes to your industry. Okay, if we're talking about residential HVAC, it could be that, you know, they hate waiting around, waiting for somebody to show up and then they're late. They hate having to tidy up after somebody who wore their dirty boots into their house, right? So what are the things that we can do that communicate that we've got some clear value, that we are different than all of those other idiots that you might have done business with in the past? Okay. I want to pass the floor over to Rob here in the next minute or two, but I did also want to give you a few other kind of angles to think about. Okay, as we're generating profit in the business, we really have about 5 ways that we can go about doing this. The first one is the number of leads. How many people have heard about you, have done that thing where they put up their hand, put in the website form, called you up, inquired about the service, right? So we want that visibility. Who has heard of you? We also want to consider the conversion rate, the sales process. This is that key differentiator, right? What is convincing them that they need to go ahead? They can't wait. They can't put it off for another season, and they've got to do this now. When we multiply the two together, we get a number of customers. This is over a time period for this business. Maybe it's over a year. And your numbers may look really different than this. This is kind of a hypothetical example. The number of transactions, how many times are they coming back and doing repeat business with you? We want to consider the value of an average sale. And if we multiply those together, we're looking at revenue. We also want to keep your profit margins in mind, because we want that profit at the end of the day to continue to reinvest in growth. Okay. So it's an important formula because we don't want to focus in just one place. Now, people come to me all the time and say, you know, my business is okay, but I think I just need more leads. And I don't have a marketing budget. So, okay, well, let's see where else we can look, right? Before we get into spending on spending the marketing budget. Often there's some increases further down this formula that are quick wins, easy kind of strategies to put in place to start to make some change to these numbers. And the fun thing is that we don't need to change them by a lot to see a big cumulative difference. So if we increase, you know, the number of leads by 10%, right? Maybe we're getting really clear on who that core customer is, and so their message is resonating a little bit more, and a few of those like views or eyeballs turn into inquiries and phone calls, right? Maybe it's specific website information to rank a little higher on specific search terms. We want to also work to improve the conversion rate. Okay, do we have a set sales process that we follow consistently every single time? We can see the effect of this as they start to multiply together. How many times are they coming back? Are you leveraging your database? Do you have information that goes out to all of past customers? Are we staying in touch? In terms of average dollar sale, well, hey, if you're right now discounting by 10% every time you make a sale, then like, let's stop discounting and we're here, right? We've done it. But apart from that, maybe there's a premium offering or an add-on service or some other way to increase the average dollar sale. You can see the revenue has grown significantly. Maybe this is year over year. We also want to work on those profit margins to make sure that as the business scales, it's not costing more and more overhead. And you can see with just a 10% increase in each of these areas, we're looking at a 61% increase in profit. So for each of these things in blue, each of these 5 ways in blue, I'd encourage you to start writing down what's the first and most obvious strategy that you could think of. Maybe there's some low-hanging fruit to start to tweak one of these numbers, to turn the dial on one of these numbers. And as we put it in place and we start to see the benefit, then we've got budget and time to turn the others. We also need to test and measure. So if there's any of those 5 numbers that right now you're not tracking or you don't know, then please reach out, talk to me. Let's get a system in place so that you can test and measure these numbers. You can't grow what you don't know. Just like the average driver thinks they're a better than average driver, the majority of business owners believe their customer service is above average. Guess what? We can't all be above average, right? So this is kind of human nature. We overestimate our strength as it compares to other people and underestimate our weaknesses. So take that time to look back. Ask your customers, if we could have done just one thing better, what would that have been, right? And let's remember to keep in touch. Here are statistically the top reasons why people stop doing business with you. 1% die. 3% might move away. 5%, a friend goes into business and they buy from them instead. 9% get sold to by a competitor. 14% go out and find a better product or a different price. But 68% stop doing business with a company because they believe the company will not notice or does not care, right? And we've seen this, right? There's some businesses out there that are a joy to support. We love giving them money in exchange for a good product, great service, a great experience. We'd be happy to give them even more referrals. But the truth is, most businesses don't fit into that category. It's not that they're bad businesses, but I'm kind of indifferent to them. And they seemingly are kind of indifferent to me. So let's not let our customers feel that way. Let's not let them feel like they don't matter or that we are indifferent to them, right? That being said, I am going to pass the floor over to Rob. I'll leave you with a quote. It's great that you're here. I'm glad everybody gave up a lunch hour and came to learn. I appreciate and applaud you for that. But what it comes down to is taking action. Only the action can bring you closer to the results that you're looking for. So to that end, if anybody would like to take advantage of a complimentary business diagnostic, this is for those live today or for those watching on YouTube, that's my email address. Just send me an email with the subject, let's go, and we'll get something booked in and get the process started. We will save questions to the end, and I will open the floor over to my friend Rob.
Awesome. Thank you, Caitlin. That was amazing. So much information in there. And it's actually really cool because we actually didn't, we did our presentations independently of each other, but you touched on so many great points that were just fantastic that I'm hoping to touch on as well. So I think we're going to play this now. Oh, sorry, give me 2 seconds. We're going to do a share screen. And I think we'll do a laser pointer. Sure, let's do it. So yeah, thank you, Caitlin. Thank you, Matt, for inviting me. I really, really appreciate it. It's such an honor to be here talking to everyone today. Really, really fantastic. So yeah, I'm going to try to be as quick as possible, as succinct as possible, and let's learn about running a more profitable residential HVAC business. This is what I'm all about. I'm going to apologize in advance. I'm not as good as a presenter as Caitlin. She is polished and fantastic. I'm more of a laid-back kind of guy, but we'll get into that in a little bit. So the agenda for today. We'll talk a bit about myself, the presenter, my main objectives for today, as well as some marketing 101, audience and segmentation, talking about website. It all begins with your website. VCP, a concept that we use here at Flower Pot Marketing, and majority of good agencies should be using. We'll get into that. And of course, the fun stuff, leveraging Google, leveraging social media, leveraging reviews, and kind of what the big question that everybody wants to know is, how do I turn a cold lead into a customer, right? So even before they're filling out a form, how do we get them to do that essentially? So a little bit about myself. I am the president of Flower Pot Marketing, as Matt mentioned. I studied digital marketing at UFT. Sorry, I'm just going to move the Zoom stuff out of the way here. Perfect. I did study digital marketing at UFT in Toronto. I'm the president of Flower Pot Marketing. As I mentioned, we are an award-winning digital marketing agency based out of Mississauga, Ontario. Flower Pot's now its 11th year of business. You know, we have a great Google rating. I love marketing, and I love helping business owners. This is my passion. I absolutely love it. I love sports, huge Leafs fan, Jays fan, Raptors, go Toronto, everything. I'm a seasons ticket holder for Toronto FC, love soccer, highly competitive, and I just love winning. And I find that working with business owners who share these same kind of values and same traits, we just work really, really well together. Oh, is this guy gonna go? Perfect. So my objectives for today, pretty simple. If you guys can walk away with these 4 concepts, I'll be extremely happy. Concept number 1 is just understanding your customers, audience and segmentation. Caitlin did touch on that briefly. Concept number 2, it all starts with your website. A high converting website is worth its weight in gold. And we'll get into that. Concept number 3, understanding VCP. What the heck is this guy talking about? Basically, it's a formula that visibility plus credibility is equal to profitability within your business. And then concept number 4, how to leverage customer reviews and increase your credibility and eventually your profitability. So again, if we can walk away with these 4 concepts, I'll be very, very happy. And I'm going to say job well done for myself. So marketing segmentation is a concept. I'm just going to read the little definition at the bottom there. Market segmentation is the process of dividing a broad consumer or business market, normally consisting of existing and potential customers, into subgroups of customers based on shared characteristics. And there are typically 8 types. We're not going to go through all of them just for the sake of brevity for this presentation. Starting from the top there on the top right, demographic. A lot of people know age, gender, marital status. We're putting people into different groups based on these different factors with the intention of selling to them and creating a marketing message that's a bit more streamlined or a bit more focused on them. And then we can kind of go down that list of geographic, so behavioral, and of course value-based. And then to continue this list, technographic, so how comfortable they are with technology, psychographic, their personal opinions, values, personalities, and lifestyle, their lifestyle stage, a bit more of a B2B kind of concept. But the concept I want to talk about today and focus on today is need-based. And those are the customers who have similar and specific requirements for products and services. Okay, I'm going to repeat that. Customers who have similar and specific requirements for products and services. We can put them into that subgroup based on what they're looking for and how they want to relate to that business, essentially. And a perfect example for this is the vehicle, the car industry. On the left, we have car A, and on the right, we have car B. Car A on the left is a minivan, and car B on the right is a sports car. We can imagine that the consumer who's looking at the minivan, car A, they care about certain aspects of that product. They probably care about the reliability, the safety rating, the fuel economy. It's cheap to insure. The comfort level for long family drives, maybe road trips, the passenger space, the cargo space, all that kind of stuff. Right? And then on the right side, we have car B, a sports car. The consumer for that particular product, they're more interested in performance, style, the luxurious features of the vehicle, maybe the status that they feel when they drive it, or the status that the perceived status that they get when people see them driving it. Maybe they care about the 0 to 60 time, right? We know that they're not very practical. So going back to the previous kind of slide, here we have one product, which is a vehicle, and people are basically putting people into 2 different subcategories, because even though the vehicle does the exact same job, it gets the person from point A to point B, how that happens is completely different. The experience is completely different, and what they care about is completely different. So knowing this information, let's imagine that we are sales reps at a car dealership. And somebody comes in and says, hey, I saw this car online, your minivan online. Can I test drive it? I want to get some more information about it. We know what they're interested in. We're not going to bring up performance or style or status because that car just doesn't really have it. The minivan doesn't have it, but that's not the point. The point is the consumer is more interested in the reliability, the fuel economy, all the other factors of that vehicle. So the point of this kind of really quick exercise is, who we're talking to and the audience that we're talking to has a direct impact on the language that we're going to use, what's important, the language that we're going to use, what they want to hear, what's important to them. Because if someone comes in looking for a sports car, but we start talking about fuel economy and different things, there's going to be a huge disconnect there. A huge disconnect. And that's not what we want, obviously. We want that person to say, hey, you know what, this sales rep understands what I'm looking for. They understand what's important to me, and they're helping guide that conversation and navigate that conversation into something that's going to make me happy, essentially. So the vehicle industry is a great example, and we can even take that one step further, where a company like GM, one brand, makes several different types of vehicles in terms of passenger vehicles, crossovers, pickup trucks, SUVs, and even with their Corvette brand, they have the sports car kind of covered. So you can see one brand is trying to serve the entire automotive industry by offering different products because they know that the consumers have different needs and different wants when it comes to their vehicle, if that makes sense, right? Now, I know that's Rob, that's great. I totally get it. How does that apply to me, right? We're doing HVAC here, right? I get it. So let's talk about an HVAC product. I'm just going to use the example of air conditioners. And I would argue that the topic of air conditioners, although they say they have one particular service, and that's keeping a home cool and comfortable during the summer months, I would argue that there are probably 3 target audiences within that one big group of air conditioners. And I would say that there's people who are looking for brand new installations or brand new units, people who are looking for air conditioner sales and service, and then people looking for air conditioner maintenance plans and tune-ups. So I would say that there's 3 different people here with 3 very different needs that want to be sold realistically in 3 different ways. So even the target audience number 1 with installations and brand new units, we can even break that down into two other groups. People who never had an air conditioner unit put into their house. This would be their first one. And the second group would be someone who has an existing unit, but they just want to replace it because it's either old or not very economical or whatever it happens to be. So you can see we can get very, very granular with the actual subset of customers that we're looking at. And Caitlin touched on this with the bike example of what's important to customers. What are they looking for? Right? So let's just take this quick example really quickly. So again, one offering, keeping a room cool and comfortable, keeping a home cool and comfortable, but 3 very different customers. The people who are looking for installations, they have certain needs and expectations. What do they want to hear? People who are interested in getting their current unit repaired, what do they want to hear? And the people who have, they have a unit, their unit actually works fine. They're just looking for maintenance plans. What do they want to hear? Because they too will have different, expectations or needs that they want to be satisfied by their service provider, essentially. So this slide here is, let's take that information and really kind of hone it down. So I would argue, coming from my marketing mind, the focus should be what is important to each segment, right? So on the left, we have installations. Well, I would say the first thing the homeowner would want to know is, are you qualified, right? Are you a licensed gas fitter? What's your experience? How long have you been doing this? And to Caitlin's point, this is kind of standard across the board. You can see for repairs or maintenance plans. And I would imagine that any credible HVAC company should be qualified and have all the regulations and proper certifications. But people doing installations, price is of course going to be a factor. These are big systems. We know that they're in the thousands, maybe even tens of thousands. So that is going to be something that's going to be a factor or concern of theirs. What's the warranty or the customer satisfaction guarantee that the service provider, the contractor, is offering? What equipment are you going to install? Is it Lennox? Is it Carrier? What's the name brand? Maybe they want to do their own research about the product lines that you carry. Is it going to be installed correctly? Right? We've all heard horror stories, or there are horror stories out there about HVAC contractors just, not doing things the proper way. Right? So these are the things that's important to them right off the bat when they're looking for this stuff, because they are in the market for a new system. So they have particular needs. If we jump over to the middle section, this group, they already have a unit. So, but the unit's not working properly. So what's important to them? I would argue, yes, you need to be qualified, but I would imagine maybe a lot of the people on this webinar, a big question is how soon can you get here, right? When is your next availability appointment that you can get a service rep up here, right? I know a big thing sometimes is, do you carry the most commonly broken down parts in your truck or in your van? Because if you do, we can get that fixed for you kind of in one visit, instead of the contractor coming in, assessing, saying, sorry, I don't have the parts with me. I got to go pick it up. I got to come back. That might take either a couple more hours or maybe the next day. Well, homeowners might not appreciate that, right? And here's the opportunity to work with someone like Caitlin as a coach to say, hey, my customers, this is what they love about our business, right? Or this is something that we're lacking in, right? We're losing business because we don't carry parts in our vans. Well, that's something that we can start to address essentially. Going down the list here, how much do you charge per hour? That's always going to be a concern, of course, right? But let's jump over to the third column where we have maintenance plans. These customers have a unit already and their unit is working perfectly fine. But what's important to them is completely different. What's important to them is peace of mind, right? No hassles. They just want their equipment to work, and they're willing to pay maybe a monthly fee or a quarterly fee for no headaches and no interruptions of their service. So when we're relating to them and when we're speaking to them, let's go back to that, the car salesman exercise, right? If you were a sales rep for, an HVAC company, which I'm sure many on the webinar are, their needs have to, they have certain needs and certain expectations based on the service that they're looking for. And I think it's important to tailor that message to satisfy those needs and say, hey, I understand you. We can help you based on the offerings that we have at this company. We can definitely help you. And here's how, and here's why, and da, da, da. So what we just kind of spoke about right now, what I just kind of touched on, is very generic. That can be applied to in-person, on websites, and a very general kind of way of approaching prospects and new clients. But I know the big question is, how do I make that work in my digital marketing sales process? How do I make that happen on my website, on my Google, and my social media, and those different types of platforms? And that's what we're going to get into right now. So we're going to take those same exact concepts and just apply them to a specific platform. And I'm telling you, it all begins with your website. Your website is your home base. We want to leverage your website and be proactive by addressing each market segment's needs and wants. And by doing so, we can sell to them more effectively. So just like how Caitlin mentioned, somebody filled out a form on your website. That's exactly what this step is in that process, right? So they really haven't heard of you or your company. They haven't heard of your services, but they've read something on your website that says, hey, you know what? This is exactly what I'm looking for. I feel comfortable about contacting them or giving them my contact information so that we can maybe do business together. And this is a very, very critical step, right? So someone coming to the website and not getting or not being relayed the information that's important to them, there's going to be a big disconnect with that service provider and that potential customer. A huge disconnect. And that's exactly what we're trying to alleviate by having the proper content and the proper messaging on our website. So you kind of saw it in my agenda. A high converting website is worth its weight in gold. And this is exactly what Caitlin was touching on with increasing that conversions, right? So we want to create, so now that we know we have air conditioners as a whole, one product or one service, we have 3 different markets or 3 different segments who are interested in that product, related to that product. So I would argue that it's important to create 3 individual pages speaking to each market segment. So once we've identified what's important to each segment, we can tell them exactly what they want to hear on a web page that's dedicated to that particular air conditioner service. So we want them to make them feel that your HVAC company is the right choice because you understand them and that you can help them, right? Going back to that kind of a minivan versus sports car, right? Someone who's talking the minivan language, when I'm interested in a sports car, we're just not going to vibe. We're not going to gel, right? But someone who comes to me and says, "Hey, Rob, you know what? You're looking at this sports car. You know what? It does this. You know, the 0 to 60. You know, this celebrity's driving one, right? Now you're talking my language, because if I care about status, if I care about performance, those types of things are really, really going to interest me and make me want to buy that vehicle at the end of the day." So I just put together a quick screenshot of an example. So we have 3 different pages with 3 different messages. I would argue that on my website, and you can kind of see there: home, air conditioners, furnaces. Under air conditioners, I have 3 sub-menus on my website, right? Air conditioner sales and installations. That's going to have one particular message, because I'm talking to one particular group of people who have one idea of what that should look like, right? Then the other one, air conditioner repairs, again, different group of people, different expectations, different needs need to be satisfied, right? And then air conditioner maintenance plans. And we see this with a lot of the big HVAC companies. We don't need to name names, but this is exactly why they do that, right? Those big companies are great models, because they are working with bigger agencies and spending a lot of money to do this research and to build this infrastructure on their website. And I'm a big fan of not reinventing the wheel if we don't have to. We can learn quite a bit from the bigger companies, and kind of say, hey, you know what? I really like how they did that. They're usually doing it for a reason. And I'm just using one example of air conditioners. We can break that down to furnaces, water heaters, the thermostats, right? So I just want to give you guys a quick example of how we can't just take air conditioners for what it is, as one product, one service, because by segmenting that particular product or service, we're actually going to increase our conversions and increase the number of sales by really resonating with that customer. So the number one goal for your website should be conversions, 100%. Just as Caitlin alluded to, this is exactly what we're trying to increase, right? So how do we do that? We usually have a call to action on our websites. Phone number, your email, click here to email, fill out a form. This type of stuff should be on every page of your website, not just your contact page. We want to make it easy for people to contact you. We want to make it easy for people to do business with you. Why give them more work by having them go to the contact page and find it? It should be your call to action should literally be littered all over your website, because we want to make sure that we said something that resonates with them, and then boom, you can contact us right after that, essentially, right? So why do we do this? Why do we want conversions to be really high? Well, obviously we want to tell them what they want to hear, tell them which problems you're going to solve for them, and of course focus on what's important to them, right? That's how we're going to do that. So much like Caitlin said, we're not focusing on price, right? We're not focusing on trying to win in a race where if everyone goes lower in price, nobody's going to make any money at the end of the day, right? So I think the real focus is kind of what Caitlin mentioned, is what can we offer this particular segment that's really, really important to them and that they really, really care about, and maybe the other competitors are not offering, or maybe they do offer it but they don't mention it or market it to that level of detail, right? That's huge. Communication is huge. And that's exactly what a website is. We are communicating, sometimes educating, but usually communicating and to a prospect about, the quality of the services that you provide, and what that process looks like. And like I said, if we can take it one step further to say, here's the problem that we're going to solve for you. We know and understand what's important to you. Come work with us and we're going to make you happy. That's, I think, going to drive up that conversion number. And really quickly, I understand that this is not the sexy stuff that people talk about, right? The majority of clients who call Flower Pot, they're looking for Google, they're looking for social media, they're looking for blogs and those kind of buzzwords that are out there. But I'm telling you, this is the stuff. So to me, the screen that we're looking at, this is the sexy stuff. Okay. I love conversions. Oh boy. Conversions, they get me out of bed in the morning, right? Getting conversions for our clients and getting conversions for business owners is everything. And we're going to kind of go through that process right now about why that's so important. So just something to think about. What good is social media, Google ads, and paid traffic if your website doesn't convert? right? I would argue that that's probably not such a good marketing plan and probably a waste of marketing dollars. This typically leads to higher marketing costs, needing more traffic to make the same amount of sales, and frustrated business owners. This to me is just a lose-lose situation for everybody. That's why we are focusing on this part, this section of websites and conversion at this part of this presentation, because we don't want to put the cart before the horse. You've noticed I have not mentioned social media or Google or reviews, anything like that at this point, because it all starts with your website. This is your home base. This is where people will be coming from Google and social media to eventually land on your website to get this information. So really quickly, at Flower Pot Marketing, we talk about two transactions. Transaction number one, they see your ad somewhere, Facebook, Google, even on a billboard, TV, radio, they see your business somewhere. And then the second transaction is they go on, so now they're on your website, they're perusing through your website, and that second transaction is that call to action. The call, the email, the form fill out. That second transaction is way more important than that first transaction, because usually for that first transaction, you had to pay for it. So social media, maybe Google ads, a billboard, TV ads, radio ads, whatever it happens to be, you had to pay to get that first transaction. But if they don't take action, call, email, or fill out a form, well, I would say that was a waste of marketing dollars. And that leads us right into this slide. Something else to think about. If your website conversion rate is 0%, would any of these actually help you? 1,000 visitors to your website this month, 10,000 visitors to your website this month, or even 1 million website visitors this month. I would argue that, these are not going to be serving that business very well at all. And that's where a lot of businesses kind of miss the mark, because they haven't addressed their website. They haven't addressed their message. They haven't segmented their audience properly. So they feel that just, drive traffic to it, people will come. Yes, that may work. And that's literally the definition of kind of throwing it at the wall and hope it sticks. But, I'm a big fan of having a strategy, having a plan, and having a well-tailored message to each segment to increase those conversions, because like Caitlin said, that's where the profitability is in most businesses. And just another kind of thing to touch on, it's proven that buyers purchase on rationale and emotion. So most purchases are based on a combination of rational thought and emotions. So eliciting a positive emotional response by telling them that you will solve their immediate problems, we'll be able to sell more to more customers. We'll be able to sell more, and customers will form a positive affinity with your brand. Exactly what Caitlin was mentioning, going from that, going up the rungs of the ladder from from shopper to customer to member, all the way up to raging fan, essentially, right? They will be thankful and grateful that you solved their problem and that you did it at a great, a budget that fits with them, and you were a pleasure to deal with through your customer service. Very similar to that glass of wine example, right? These are the positive experiences that people are looking for when they do business with companies. So this slide here, I'm a big fan of: don't focus on the product or the service, focus on the customer. The customer will tell you what they want at the end of the day. I find this every single day during my meetings, with business owners. They will tell you what they want. They will tell you exactly what they're looking for or what their perfect world looks like, right? So going back to that vehicle, example, it's just so versatile, right? If they're looking for a family-friendly car, they will tell you that. If they're looking for a sports car for whatever reason, they will tell you that. They will tell that sales rep exactly what they're looking for, and it's our job to kind of push them into the right direction. And it's the marketing agency's job to make sure that that communication is clear, right? Clear and efficient. So let's kind of switch gears a little bit. Something else to think about. What good is a high converting website if nobody sees it? Well, right? This is where we kind of bring in maybe some social media and some Google stuff. And obviously we'll get into that a little bit more. But even if you spent $100,000 for a brand new website with all the bells and all the whistles, it's actually a waste of money without having visitors to it. So you can see how having a high converting website and obviously online traffic, they work hand in hand, right? They work very, very well together. And this is one of the key concepts I hope you can take away today, and that's the concept of VCP. This is the formula for success. And V plus C equals P is very simply put, visibility plus credibility is equal to profitability. Okay, so visibility plus credibility is equal to profitability. This is the kind of cycle that we go through with every new lead that comes in through any business. Doesn't have to be HVAC, doesn't have to be marketing, could be retail, it could be whatever. This is how the process starts. We need to be visible, right? Visibility, you first have to be visible in the market. And I love marketing, as I mentioned in my introduction. I believe in TV. I believe in radio. I believe in bus shelters. I believe in getting jerseys for your local kids soccer team and hockey team. I love that stuff because I believe in it. I believe that that is the first step to getting people to know about your business, and it's the first step on getting that visibility of, hey, I'm here, this is what I do. And this is exactly what, just kind of reading the slide here, that is when people know who you are and what you do, right? And I tell this to clients all the time, or, prospects, people can't buy from you if they've never heard of you before. That's just a simple fact, right? How can I research, Bob's, HVAC company if I've never heard of Bob's HVAC company? I never heard of Bob or his company, right? It's just not going to happen, right? So visibility is the first step, and you don't achieve credibility or profitability without visibility. And visibility can be something as simple as a referral, like Caitlin mentioned. Hey, you know what? You worked on someone's home and they told their neighbor, right? The neighbor made you visible to the original customer made you visible to the new neighbor, essentially, right? So it doesn't have to be in the terms of blogs, billboards, TV, radio, Google, social media. Visibility comes in various forms. Obviously, with digital marketing, and this being a digital marketing webinar, that's what we're going to be focusing on. But realistically, whatever we can do to increase visibility, I'm telling you, the results are exponential on the other side of that. So once you become very visible over time, you establish credibility. And this is where credibility is when people know who you are, what you do, and now they know that you're good at it, right? This is kind of where you start going from a startup and maybe a smaller company where, a couple people took a chance on you, right? They hired you because they just vibed with you and they gelled with you. Now they really enjoyed their experience. Now they're telling their friends and leaving good Google reviews, and things are really starting to snowball at this point, right? And again, it doesn't have to be a startup. This can be a bigger size company as well, of course, right? But your name is getting out there and your reputation is getting out there. And this is something that, a lot of companies spend a lot of money on trying to improve. Apple does a great job of it, obviously. In the vehicle, going back to the vehicle example, Toyota, the credibility, Honda, the credibility for their passenger cars as very reliable, the engines are amazing, just change the oil and you'll be fine kind of thing. They've really honed in on that message, right? That's kind of the bulk of kind of their messaging at the end of the day, right? And then we can start taking this concept of credibility to Google reviews, TV, radio, Facebook, Instagram, because now you kind of have a body of work, right? You have a subset of customers who have used your services, are very happy with your services, and now you can kind of take that to new prospects to say, hey, look, you know what? We do really good work. Here's a bunch of people that have used our services. They had a great experience, and we feel very confident that you're going to have a great experience too, right? And then eventually that leads us into the profitability, right? So at this point, people know who you are, what you do, that you're good at it, and they are willing to pay a little extra for your services, right? Because they can't get what their needs satisfied through your competitors, essentially, right? We live in the GTA, and I tell prospects all the time, a lot of Canada's wealth is right here. Assuming a lot of us are from the GTA, but going from, Toronto all the way through Mississauga, Oakville, right through to Hamilton and Niagara, there's a lot of disposable income in here. And what do we hear a lot? People are busy, they work a lot, they don't have time, they have kids, like Caitlin mentioned in her example with the haircut. right? There are people out there who say, I'm willing to pay a little bit extra. I just want it done right. And I would imagine when it comes to HVAC, that is definitely the case, right? Especially if they have elderly people, their parents living with them, if they have young children in the home, if they have pets, right? I can't afford to leave my HVAC system to maybe someone that I find on Kijiji or someone that doesn't look reputable, right? They don't look credible to me, right? And it's actually, I'll give you guys just a really quick story. And this was told to me by an HVAC professional, actually. He told me that, Rob, he said, there's this kind of thing in the industry where, there are some people out there who want to do installs and, make that kind of transaction, and then they don't really want to be found because there's no kind of money in coming back and servicing that client if things go wrong, whatever. They just want to install, and kind of be on their way. And it's very difficult to find their phone number, their email, their business name. Their branding is not very, noticeable. And he said there are businesses like that, essentially, right? And they'll undercut, some of the bigger guys or kind of the reputable companies just looking for that quick sale. And maybe they're marketing on Kijiji and different kind of discount kind of platforms where people are looking for deals. And I thought that was very interesting. Right. And he said, Rob, that's not my customer. That's not who I want to go after. I want to go, my market is someone who doesn't put their HVAC system into, someone who does business that way. Right. And then from those conversations, I learned a lot. He learned a lot about kind of the marketing and how we reach those people. But it was actually a very interesting conversation to say that, hey, you know what? People are looking for these products and services. And we identified that in the GTA specifically, people are willing to go with a reputable company, even if it means spending a little bit more. So again, going back to Caitlin's kind of point, we don't want to drop our prices. We want to increase our value. Two very different conversations, right? So I'm happy charging a price or even a bit of a higher price, but I'm going to offer more. I'm going to give more. I'm going to make that customer happy so that even though they might say, yeah, you know what, I spent X amount more than maybe some of the other quotes that I received, I'm still very happy with my decision. And they're so happy with their decision to purchase from you. They're going to leave a review, tell their friends, referrals and all that kind of stuff. Right. So kind of the last line there. They're more at this point, they're more likely to pass on referrals, take advantage of future offers that you offer them because they already had a great experience with you. And of course, leave positive reviews and share their experience with others. That's a key point. So switching gears a little bit more, this is a question that kind of comes up from quite a few people. Do I need a Google business profile? And the short answer is yes. Going back to my previous point about visibility, you want to be as visible as possible. And that means being found on Google. And just kind of give you guys some quick tidbits of information. If your business is not verified with Google, you can't collect Google reviews. You won't be able to rank on the Google Maps. You can't rank organically at all. And basically, according to Google, your business actually doesn't exist. So if you're asking yourself, hey, how come I can't find my business sometimes? This is the first place to start, setting up a Google business profile. And I would say that going back to my conversation with that HVAC professional, he was telling me that, Rob, a lot of these kind of, I don't know the proper term, but some of these maybe companies who don't want to be found, they don't want to be shown in the spotlight. They don't want to come up if you Google them, right? Because they're not looking to have really good aftercare or a service call or customer service. They're there to realistically get that sale, install the equipment, and kind of move on, to be quite honest with you, right? So I would argue that the typical homeowner doesn't want a Mickey Mouse HVAC contractor, his words, working on their system. They want reputable contractors at the end of the day, right? And just a little tidbit there at the bottom. If you don't have a Google business listing yet, just Google the term Google My Business. And that will come up and you can get started. And just how you can see the flower pot marketing there, it has our address, our phone number, all the information. This is where we want to start with that visibility on Google specifically. So some quick statistics on Google. I left this, I was hoping to maybe do a raise of hands, but I can't see the raise of hands. But 93% of Canadians, 93% of Canadians what? What do you think the next slide is going to say? Let's find out. Well, according to CBC News, I took this as a screenshot. Google estimates that 93% of Canadian consumers research online before purchasing something. So they're looking for information. They are actively looking for either window shopping, comparing different companies, different prices, of course, but different service providers to see where should I spend my money? What's going to be a good fit for me, essentially, right? And this is a big, big key as to why Google's so big and why everybody, is looking for SEO and Google Ads, because we understand now the impact that it has to be visible on that platform, essentially, right? Okay, so now that we talked about high converting websites and we talked about VCP, let's get into the fun and the sexy stuff, how to get found on Google. Big shocker, the #1 place Canadians go for research is Google, obviously. And I would kind of break that down into two different segments as well. They either A, know the company name already. So, that company was visible, and they're doing research specifically on that company, right? So maybe I'm driving in my car, I hear an ad on the radio, I go home, I hop on my computer, I hop on my phone, and I check out that company's name and kind of what they're offering, and maybe check out the promotion they're running for that radio campaign. Or the second group is they're researching generic terms and generic topics. To go back to my previous air conditioner example, air conditioner sales near me, right? Or air conditioner contractors near me, HVAC contractors for air conditioner sales, all these different keywords and key terms that people would be typing into Google. So you can see when people type in specific company names, we want to come up, definitely. But we also want to come up when people are typing in the generic terms, because that's how we're really going to start that lead gen, essentially. So again, more sexy stuff. Some of the advantages of advertising on Google: you can market by the keyword. So air conditioner sales near me, HVAC contractor near me, reputable HVAC contractors near me. You can market by location. So if somebody lives in Mississauga, Google is great. They know where you are based on your phone and your IP address and your device. So if you are out in London, Ontario, let's say, and you type in air conditioner near me, but you want to market in Mississauga only, your ad's not going to come up to that London resident, if your ads are set up correctly, of course. So there's a huge benefit on what people are looking for and where they're located. Then there are some other kind of minor things that we can kind of put in. Are they in a shopping mood based on the content they've consumed already? So you may have seen, you've been onto one website, and then you're on another website, and then you see an ad for that original website. It kind of follows you around, either on your social media or on other websites. That's because Google knows, they're dropping those little cookies and files on your computer. They know what kind of content you're consuming. So if you're looking at golf clubs, for example, they know that, and they're going to start showing you golf club or golf related content, and so essentially. Right. And then to some degree, we can target by homeowners and other minor inputs, but those are the major ones for right now. The beauty of Google and why people love it, you can set your own budget. So a big factor to homeowners is, to business owners, I should say, a big factor to that is, well, how expensive is it? Well, it can be as expensive as you want it to be. Obviously, there's going to be some basement numbers we need to hit to, kind of pay to play. We want to play, definitely, but we don't have to go as big as the big box store. We can sit nicely in a budget that's comfortable with business owners. And this is the second point. There is probably one of the best things about Google is you only get charged when someone clicks your ad and lands on your hopefully high converting website. Right? It's a pay-per-click model. Really quickly, let's go through another model where if I wanted to print 100 flyers and put them on 100 cars in a parking lot, I would have to pay upfront to design the flyers, print the flyers, pass out the flyers, and that could be either my time of putting 100 flyers on 100 cars or paying someone to do that for me. But all my costs are upfront, hoping to recoup that with people taking advantage of my offer that's on the flyer. But what Google has done, which is fantastic, is they say, let's do the budget first, give us a budget. When people start clicking, then we will charge you. So you pay Google after you get the lead. So they've really put that kind of model upside down and flipped it on its head. And that's why it is so, so effective for a lot of business owners. Really quickly, we have a case study here. This is an actual campaign from an actual HVAC client. This is their Google reports. Obviously, we blocked out a couple things. No names given, but I just kind of want you to see that second row there in that box, which is air conditioner for sale. This is the campaign that we were running for May. So you can kind of see there in the clicks column, 22 clicks, but you'll see in the conversion rate, it's 9. That keyword is converting at a 9%, which means somebody went to Google, typed in that keyword, air conditioner for sale. The clients came up, the customer clicked on that ad, arrived on the HVAC contractor's website and filled out a form, called or emailed. And the beauty of these numbers is that these numbers are 100% scalable. So realistically, if we get in front of 100 people, if we get 100 people, 9 of them will go to the website, fill out a form, call, or email. If we get in front of 200 people, at 9% conversion, then 18 people will call, email, and fill out a form. So these numbers are 100% scalable, and this is exactly kind of what a good solid program, high converting website can do for you. So you can kind of see here some of the other key terms. How much does an air conditioner cost? How much to install air conditioning in a home? The conversions are very low. And why is that? Because we don't put the prices on the website, right? So the content that the person asked for was not given by the landing page that they landed on. There's that disconnect, right? So they're looking for numbers. So that's why those conversions are pretty low. But at the end of the day, in terms of being a marketing agency and coming up with something that works, this is definitely working for them, because 9% of all their traffic from Google Ads is filling out a form, calling, or sending an email. And we would consider that a huge win. Why is that? I Googled it, put a screenshot right for you. What is a good conversion rate with Google Ads? And the industry standard, believe it or not, is between 2 and 5%. It's very, very low, guys. So this is 100% a numbers game. And this is exactly what Caitlin was alluding to, into the number of leads, increasing that, because we are taking a percentage of the leads that are coming in, right? So between 2 and 5% is considered a success. Really quickly, we don't need to go into this, but basically just the email that the client sent back to me, basically saying that they're very happy with everything. No need to go into great detail here, but basically, yeah, they were very happy with the results from last month's campaign. So just kind of winding down here, some more sexy stuff, leveraging social media. Social media is great because a lot of people are on social media. We want to be visible where people already are. So we can tap into that database of how many visitors are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube every single day, and show an ad before they consume the content they're actually looking for. So posting on your social media can be beneficial, but I'll be honest with you, I'm a big fan of the ads platforms that these platforms use, because you can reach a lot of people on a very, very modest budget. And the beauty of marketing on social media, so Facebook, Twitter, all that kind of, Instagram, is that you can target by age, gender, location, their interests, and actually add photos and videos and rich media to that experience, right? So you can actually show maybe the unit that you're selling, or show some of the products and the product lines that people are, maybe do the research and maybe get familiar with. I know we're kind of ramping low on time, so we'll kind of move through here. So just a quick case study of my own newsfeed. So I consume golf content. So I get shown golf ads daily, okay? So they know based on my age, gender, location, and my interests, Facebook knows what content and what ads to show to me based on the exact stuff that I'm looking at. Right. So anyone who's looking at HVAC stuff or, hot water heaters, they're in that shopping mood. Again, the technology is so advanced and so amazing that they know that. And they share that with us advertisers to make us more effective, essentially. Right. And that is the beauty of that system, essentially. Switching gears to the Google reviews. I know this is always a big step for small business owners. And I'll be honest with you, it is very simple. It's a two-step process. And number one is just ask, believe it or not. The best time to ask for a review is right when the job is completed and you solve the client's problems, right? Going back to that segmentation, right? They are the happiest in this moment. You solve their problems. You are the hero of the day. They are, and if it was a good experience, they are more than willing to leave you a review right in that moment. Again, people buy on emotion. We kind of talked about that. That moment is the exact moment to ask for that review transaction. So you've already got the service job. Maybe you've already did the monetary transaction. This moment is about getting that review transaction, right? And then the second point of that is make it easy for them, right? In Google My Business, I'm sure many of you know already, you can send, with one click, you can send a customer a one-click link that will lead them right to the review page. So it can be in the form of an email, a text, WhatsApp. Hey, here's the link for the review. They tap it on their phone and it brings them right to that 5-star location where they can put in their comments as well. So it actually is more simple than people think. Okay, this is not rocket science. It's just a matter of timing. And I think that with good practices and this is something that Caitlin can definitely help you with, putting in system and processes. That's what she's amazing at. Putting in good systems and processes for HVAC technicians or any kind of service-based industry or sale. This is the perfect time to do it. So how to leverage them after the review. Obviously on Google, we want to reply to the review. They took the time to, say good things about you publicly. So let's show that you acknowledge your customers publicly, right? Same thing. We're going to reciprocate that and say, hey, thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Customer, for that amazing review. It was a pleasure doing business with you. Please think of us again for your future needs, right? HVAC needs, air conditioner needs, whatever it happens to be. But now that you have that review, you can post them to your website and to your social media, right? So anyone doing their research can now read them, which is going to increase your credibility. So that one Google review, that one positive experience is going to fuel further business down the road. So really quickly, another case study, one of our clients, they reward their clients for their reviews. Okay, so just really quickly, they are a beauty spa in Cambridge, Ontario. They focus on kind of waxing and laser hair removal. Well, in our market research, this is not being sexist or this is just plain data. We found that females really take other females' Googles to heart. They put a lot of weight on them. So knowing this, we worked with the business owner of B-Bear Beauty Bar, and we said, look, what can we do to increase your 5-star Google reviews? Because we know when females look at them, they are going to take them, they're weighted very, very heavily. So at B-Bear Beauty Bar, when you're ready to check out, after you've done all your services and you're ready to pay, the receptionist will offer you a $5 discount if you pull out your phone and leave a positive Google review, a 5-star Google review. This is not advertised on their website. This is not advertised on their social media. It's not advertised anywhere. This happens at the point of right when that person has finished their services and they're about to pay, right? So $5 off my bill? Yeah, sure, no problem. They do it, and you can see from the screenshot there, they have a 4.9 rating from 539 customers, right? So again, imagine that you are a female, just moved to Cambridge, Ontario. You're looking for a new waxing place because you don't know of the local businesses around, and you come across this business. Well, I would argue that this business has a very favorable light, and they'll probably get that call or email or that conversion because of the reputation and the credibility that they've established. So this is exactly what we're trying to achieve with all our clients, whether it's a spa, whether it's a car dealership, whether it's HVAC. This is part of that credibility and the power of what Google reviews can do. So really quickly, how to turn cold leads into customers. Number one, visibility. They see your business or your offering on social media, Google, whatever it happens to be, right? That's the first interaction with your business. Number two, they're doing their research, right? They arrive on your website, your specific landing page to get more information about that offering, and they do research on your company as a whole. So they're going to look at your Google reviews, they're going to look at your HomeStars reviews. They are basically researching your credibility and how reputable you are. Right. Number three, they may contact you to speak to a representative. So again, that phone call or form fill out. Right. So from Google Ads, we saw that the 9% of people from a particular campaign are taking that action. Right. And then number four, they're thrilled with with their decision to hire you and to work with you and their experience, and they leave you a Google review, plus another one on HomeStars. Like I just mentioned, refueling that cycle. Right. So this is a cycle, just like Caitlin had mentioned, the hourglass as opposed to a funnel. Right. This is very much so a cycle where visibility and credibility equals profitability, but that would just fuel more visibility and more credibility, which in theory will get you to more profitability. So just to recap, number one, audience and segmentation, it is key. Focus on each segment's needs and wants. They will tell you what they're looking for. And then when they do that, we can become very effective marketers and sell directly to them, essentially. Number two, it all starts with your website. Conversions, conversions, conversions. I know it's not sexy, but to me, that's the sexiest part of this whole presentation is conversions. And remember, 93% of Canadians do their research first before making a purchasing decision. Right. Number three, VCP, visibility plus credibility equals profitability. You need to be visible. Those three components in that formula are in that particular order for a reason. It also you don't get to credibility and profitability without visibility. And maybe you do, but I can promise you that with visibility, you'll get there faster. And then number four, how to get reviews. Honestly, it's just ask at the right time and make it easy for them. Give them a one-site link, even tell them, hey, I'll write it out for you if you like. Maybe you just got to click the send button, stuff like that. So, and then leverage that by adding it to your website and to your social media to present that to, the new people. If you're doing visibility properly, the new people that you're visible to are going to see those reviews. Thank you. I appreciate your time listening to me ramble on. I know there's probably going to be quite a few questions. And this is the difficult part with digital marketing is many clients and people have questions. They're all starting from a different starting point, right? So I'm really hoping that if you do have any questions about your own website, your own digital marketing, by all means, reach out. Happy to help. I'm not to sell anything to anyone, but again, I like helping people. I love marketing and I love helping business owners. So any questions are welcome. And with that, I think we'll wrap it up.
Fantastic. Really appreciate the information. We got a bit of a supersized webinar today. Thank you so much for everyone who stuck around after one there. I do have one question for you that comes from our Q&A button. What is the best website provider for someone who is just starting to get into the tech side?
In terms of like a website platform, I would imagine.
I see provider, but if the answer is a platform or
I would say this. I would say working with an agency. I'll be honest with you. I'm not a big fan of the DIY. So let's put things into perspective. I don't know a thing about HVAC, right? I would dread and trying to install a furnace or an air conditioner or repair it. And I kind of feel the same way where everyone has their strengths and their skills. So I would leave that to the marketing agency. A website I would not DIY because unless you're a marketing professional, unless right, you know the content and you know what to do, right? But again, when it comes to this stuff, I would put it into the hands of a marketing agency because they're going to do their best to increase the conversions. And whatever platform, most of the platforms are kind of the same, to be honest with you. But it's just a matter of, again, what is that defined best, right? Because just like the cars, right? What's the best car out there? Well, what's important to you? Is it features? Is it speed? Is it price? You know what I mean? Is it flexibility? So it is kind of all over the map, but I would imagine any good agency would recommend a platform that works best for what that client's looking for, essentially.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Those are the questions. Caitlin kind of answered one in chat as well. They were asking about, do you work with companies anywhere within Canada? And the answer was absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Great. Okay, I think unless anyone has any other questions, we'll let people go back to their days. But fantastic insights you guys provided, and you gave up your contact information as well if people want to follow up. And also, this will be on HRI's YouTube page as well. Any parting words, Rob, Caitlin, before we take off?
Just thank you. Thank you so much for having us on. I do encourage people to reach out. I think Rob put his email address on the screen. I put mine on the screen, Caitlin Blundell at actioncoach.com. We'd love to chat with you and do a kind of a deep dive into your own situation and give you some custom, unique solutions as well. So don't be shy.
Awesome. A lot of great stuff. Thank you so much. Hope to see you again.
Thank you, guys.
Take care all. Cheers.